Welcome to another episode of Nostalgia Mate. Today we're going to be talking about Westworld, and I'm joined as always by my wonderful co-host Cooper. Welcome.
Hello, it's me again.
It's very fun. I almost said that quite robotically as well, didn't I? So that's
You
sort
did,
of
yeah.
very
It was almost
big.
like AI generated.
Yeah.
Hello.
I think I just sort of coast along sometimes. I kind of am just
Yeah,
AI
that's
generated these
understandable.
days. I feel like that's sort of fun.
Everything's AI generated these days, so...
Yep. But basically, not this podcast though. That's a joke, ladies and
No,
gentlemen.
we are real.
That is
I promise we
joke.
are real.
We are very real. Which is very on topic because today we're talking about a TV series which is very close to my heart. Not so much to yours.
Okay. Okay.
We're talking about Westworld.
Okay, well, that's just... What are we... Not even 30 seconds in and I've already been slandered.
So let's
this
just...
is unbelievable.
For people who've never seen Westworld before, we will spoil some stuff. Gonna try not to spoil everything, but it's so worth watching, even if for the first
100%.
two series... You had to get that in there, didn't you?
Yeah.
But even for the first two series alone, it's worth watching. I think all of it's great in different ways. But yeah, it's a show which is basically, as a short summary, is based on a film from the 70s, 80s, which is also based on a book, which is written by the same guy who did Jurassic Park. Very similar concept. And it is basically a theme park in the future, in the Wild West. And people who are rich enough can go and they can interact with people, but the people are not people. They are robots programmed to act like people in the Wild West, and they don't know anything and they're reprogrammed. And the show covers a lot of different themes, and it was kind of penned at the time when it started to be like HBO's next Game of Thrones. And it didn't end up being that.
Not even close. Not even...
Okay.
Not that I watch Game of Thrones. I'm going to be starting Game of Thrones very soon.
Yeah, me too. I've not seen it, which is mad. But also...
Yeah.
Already with the slander, I'm going to be dragging you as much as you're dragging the show. I will defend Westworld with my last breath.
Okay, so for context, I've watched all of Westworld up till...
You haven't?
I watched up until standard. So I watched seasons 1, 2... It's not that much. It's only 4 seasons.
I've watched all the Star Wars films up until Attack of the Clones. You know, it doesn't...
Okay, so I've watched seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Westworld. I have watched the first 3 episodes of season 4 and have also rewatched season 1 and 2
Have you watched
twice.
any? I didn't know you'd watched any of season 4, so that's news to me.
Yes, I've watched the start of season 4. I watched the first 3 episodes.
That's gone down from 3 to 2 very quickly.
I don't. This is the thing. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was 2 or 3. I can't remember.
Sure. Well, it makes sense though. To be fair, yeah, I get that. It's a show that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did I introduce you to it?
Yes, you introduced me to Westworld.
Yeah.
On two different occasions. You've introduced me to Westworld.
How does one introduce on 2 different occasions? Go for it.
So the first occasion was we'd been doing something, and you were like, "You should watch this show." And I think I watched the first episode, and didn't continue it for whatever reason. You pestered me, and then eventually, I came around and watched the first episode again, and then almost dropped it, but continued it all the way through. And that was around the time I think season 2 was airing, or it just began around the time when I started watching the first season, because I remember watching the second season as it released weekly.
Yeah, because we recorded a thing, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Which I guess we'll also talk about.
Yeah.
But I did a review on YouTube.
That might have been before I watched Westworld, actually.
No, it wasn't. No, because it was season 2 review. No, no, it wouldn't have been. No, because
maybe you told me to watch it and then said, "Yeah, maybe you told me to watch it." Yeah, I must have. The stuff that
I think you watched it
we were
because the
doing
ninja,
in it,
the ninja stuff. You were like,
yes,
I want to be a ninja in it, and that was season 2 stuff. So you must have watched some of it.
Unless it was post season 2, or I can't remember. But anyway, it's season 1 and 2. Honestly, I think season 1 of Westworld is one of the greatest season 1s of any TV show I've ever watched.
Easy,
100%.
Just 100%. Like it, and yeah, okay. I mean, we'll start with season 1 as a concept piece. Yeah, I think it's fair to start. I think it's excellent. I've watched it too many times at this point where I sort of. Oh really? Watch it again.
Yeah, twice. I mean, the last time was just before season 4 aired. So right. I was like, I'm gonna watch all of it before season 4 comes out. Didn't get to season 3.
Well, we'll get.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah,
that's interesting to get. Yeah, with season 1, so it's 10 episodes, and I think it's marvelous. I think everything about it is incredible. Yeah. Like the way the story's told. I really don't want to give away any of the big twists and stuff. So obviously, like,
It's
feel free to
worth it
skim
for the
around
twists,
it.
honestly.
It's worth. I will not spoil some of the best moments in it because it's worth it alone just to watch season 1. And
the twists at the back end of season 1 are just.
There's twist after twist
honestly,
after twist. From episode 6 onwards, it's sort of maybe even 5, but it's twist after twist after twist every episode. A jaw-droppingly good twist, and you very rarely see that in TV, especially with such little build-up in like a season. To have so many really exciting, interesting twists that you really don't see coming. And I remember at the time, I sort of watched. So my dad watched it first because he's a classic nerd, whether you like to admit that or not, but he is. I mean, he watches Star Trek, for Christ's sake. Of course he is. But he watched Westworld. He knew what Westworld was, and he was buzzing about the HBO series when it was coming out. And he got me into it. He'd watched about 3 or 4 episodes prior to me watching it, and then I caught up and I watched it with him. And he was gushing about how good it was, and I didn't get it. First episode, second episode, I was like, look, it's okay. It's just another American, like action-y sort of show, sure. But then I like got up to a certain point. I think it was episode 4 or 5, and then we got to episode 6, where there is the first big twist, which I'm not going to kind of again give away. I'm trying to avoid all the spoilers because I feel like it is worth people listening to or watching. But it's the one where a character finds out that they're not who they thought they were.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And there's a big twist there, and that hooked me, and I was like, okay, this show is brilliant. This is genuinely better. And like, look, prior to that, I think earlier that year, because this must have been, I'm thinking 2016, when season 1 came out. I think it was. And that was the same year as sort of I was really into The Walking Dead, and then completely fell out of love with it. So for me, it was sort of like it was a replacement for that. I watched
Walking Dead's it's a sore spot.
Yeah, I watched
Being
a sort of
long-time fan of Walking Dead.
Season
it hurts.
Season 7 and the Negan stuff. Yeah,
we did the switch. Whereas like I was into Walking Dead so much longer before you got into it. Because I remember when you were watching through it. Because that was something that I watched with my dad as I was growing up.
Right. I see.
And it was around that time of the kind of changeover where Walking Dead kind of fell off a little bit. And
but it was that. It was season 7. It was when Negan was introduced, and it was sort of really, really good. And then the rest of that season was a bit disappointing. And I honestly haven't watched any of it since. I'm sure it has its ups and downs, but it was a gap there to be replaced with Westworld.
100%.
And that November, December is when I watched Westworld, and that first season came to an end, and I was blown away. Everything about the performances. I mean, the cast is stacked. Anthony Hopkins is one of my, plays Dr. Robert Ford in the series, and he is one of my favourite characters in fiction. Like, I absolutely adore. There's something so mysterious and brilliant that Anthony Hopkins brings to that role, and it's so exciting. You've got Jeffrey Wright, who plays Bernard, and he is
goated.
Great, yeah. Goated. It's one of the first things I've seen him in, but he has been in a lot of other stuff. He was Oscar nominated this year.
Yeah.
So,
he's incredible. He's an incredible actor. He's his performance of Bernard in Westworld is phenomenal.
Oh, it's so nuanced, and that's the thing you also get. You get a lot of different phenomenal actors playing these different parts, and the actors who are playing the hosts or robots again are, whether it's a mix of direction or whatever, incredible. And I think this is a really great time to be talking about this because, and we'll get to sort of season 4 and all that sort of thing. The show got cancelled before its sort of last season, really.
Was it about a year ago when it got cancelled now, or is it more recent?
Probably about a year and a half, I reckon. It was right after season 4 came out. There was just an announcement where it's there's no renewal.
Yeah.
But what is coming out is the Fallout Amazon series, which is, I think, written by, directed by Jonathan Nolan, brother of Christopher Nolan as well.
Yeah.
Who him and his wife actually wrote and directed and created Westworld, and that's why I'm excited for the Fallout series, because big Westworld fan. That's going to be exciting.
The trailer looks really good for the Fallout series.
Yeah, I'm gassed. I'm
really,
so excited.
really, really good. Not that I'm a massive Fallout.
No, me neither.
Guy, but
me neither.
The series looks incredible. Westworld season 1 is just even down to the music and the sets and the whole thing.
I could go on for years about the music.
The way the characters are written, everyone has a favorite character, but some of the main cast of characters are phenomenal. Phenomenal. The music's one of the standout points for me. it's so like synonymous, and it's just so perfect for the setting. And yeah,
so that's the thing. I think the music from, and I'm probably going to butcher his name a little bit, but Ramin Djawadi, who does the music for this show, he does Game of Thrones as well. It's brilliant. He takes modern contemporary songs and does them in the style of where they're being played, whether that be a Western town or whether that be in the sort of Shogun era or whether that be
Back to Black
in the Raj. It's like there's
the
lots
back to back versions.
Paint It Black. Do you mean
Paint It Black? Sorry, yeah.
You do Back to Black as well, yeah.
Yeah, but all of the because when I first watched through it, I didn't actually realize that they were like modern songs changed. It was only when I started listening to the soundtrack afterwards, I was like, wait.
It was very influential to me as well, like as someone getting into like proper music at that point. There's a lot of things. Like I didn't know much about Radiohead before Westworld. Westworld got me into Radiohead because it covers about 10 Radiohead songs throughout all the series, and it's brilliant. You know, they're used in some of the best moments, and because Radiohead songs are great, they are obviously brilliant in the context of the show as well. You'll hear a track and you'll be like, wow, this is a fantastic bit of music, and then you realise it's actually just a piano honky-tonk cover of an existing very famous song that I just hadn't heard of. And I think that's great. And you get a lot of mixes of that depending on the genre of the series. The first one is very strictly all Western, all the sort of Western style, and it works incredibly. I think as well, the cast, as you're saying about the cast, is absolutely incredible. How many of them there are and how many different stories are going on at once.
Yeah, that's one of the other things. It's like all the stories feel, especially in season 1 and going into season 2, all of the stories feel very connected. You've got a smirk on your face as I'm saying this.
Yeah.
All the stories feel very connected, but at the same time, not so connected where they rely on each other. They are somehow connected, but also disconnected at the same time, if that makes sense. And they're all steering towards very much the same point, but you don't really know that until very late on, essentially.
I am interested here because I feel like you're alluding to that season 1 is the only good season.
No. I think season
because there's a level where I think because the one thing about Westworld that I will say is the show is complicated. It takes a couple of viewings with some things to get your head around it. But I would argue that the first 2 seasons of Westworld, after rewatching both of them many times, are like perfect TV, I would say. As a package, the way I advertise Westworld to people is watch the first 2 series. It's one of the best shows on television. If you like it and you want to be experimental, try 3 and 4 as well. But season 1 and 2 are definitively incredible, I would say. Like in an objective sense, I know that's daft, but I think it's brilliant.
I agree. I think as a package, they're one of the because the stories very much follow all the way through. So season 2 is a near direct follow on from season 1. I think that upon rewatching both of them, a little while ago, season 1 is my favorite series, which didn't used to be the case. I used to always prefer season 2, but upon rewatching, I don't remember what it was, but there was something about season 2 that I didn't enjoy as much. But as an entire package, I generally think it's one of the greatest story arcs on TV, in films. Like, the whole package, the full story of season 1 and 2. Not saying that season 3 and 4 are completely disconnected, but they're different, but they're still attached to the main story. But as a whole, complete package, if they were to have stopped Westworld after season 2, it would have, like, that whole story arc is incredible.
That's how I advertise it, is watch season 1 and 2. I wouldn't even say watch it as a 4-season thing. Watch it as a 2-season show. And then if you like it and you fancy being a bit experimental with it, you can try the others. Season 2, as I say, expands upon season 1. I feel like season 1 feels like it starts on the outer ring of the lore of the show, brings you right into the middle, both like metaphorically and literally. And then the second season is getting back out again. Yeah, that's the sort 100%. Of feeling, which is also within the story as well. Like something, I'm not going to say much, but something goes wrong in the park, and people who are trapped in it need to get out. So in the first series, they're coming to visit and coming to get immersed in the world, and the second season, people are trying to get out of there. So it's very much like you feel this sort of contract and then pull, which is very satisfying over a 2-series arc as a story. And then season 3 takes it and runs with it. Now, I can vouch for the fact that I was very unpleasantly surprised by season 3 when I first saw it. When I first saw it being the emphasis there.
How many times have you watched it?
Twice.
Okay, I've only seen it once when it first came out. So season 3 for me,
we should explain as well. I think we should sort of preface what season 3, why it was different, because the first and second series come hand in hand. They're in the same setting, same sort of world, but expand upon it.
Season 3 is almost like if season 1 and 2 within the park is kind of like in the parks is like kind of like an apocalyptic sense where it's like everybody's trying to get out of this rogue park, everything's gone wrong. It's about what happens on the outside after certain people who shouldn't get out of the park get out of the park, essentially. I'm trying to move around it because I don't want to spoil too much.
I think it's fair to say I think it's like the whole the key jump, I think, even outside of just story, is the setting. The first 2 seasons are pretty much all bar 1 or 2 scenes set entirely within the confines of this robot theme park and abide by the rules that are displayed from the first episode in terms of what the robots can do, what the robots can't do, what the humans can do, what the humans can't do in these parks. Not just rules in terms of like what you're allowed to do, like don't loiter, but rules as in like physical like laws of how the show works, rules. Season 3 starts after a time jump and is set in the real world outside of the theme parks. The real world being the future, and it shows characters who you know from the first few seasons adapt into that life, but obviously things are different. So that's the big change, was it's not in the parks, and the characters are all different, and there's a different story at play, introducing new characters. And I will agree, it's jarring. It's so jarring.
It's a massive jump, and it's one of those things where it's like if you come into Westworld, what you're saying is like you pitch if you like Western kind of style shows. You will enjoy Westworld because to break it down to fundamentals, that's what it is. As much as season 2 is set in different eras as well and somewhat outside of Westworld, still it is Westworld. It is Western. All the characters are still Western.
So the thing,
the third season jumps out of that and takes. And I didn't go into Westworld for the Western. Like it's not like I would never. If you put a load of eras or themes in front of me, Western probably wouldn't be a top 3 pick for me. It's just that I could never put my finger on it, but there was something about season 3 that just felt too different. I don't know whether it was some of the character choices. There's some characters who aren't in the third season or in the third season not as much, and there's some story points that I don't really like as much in season 3. And I know, and when I finished season 3 the first time round, I remember not really enjoying it, especially coming off season 2, and season 2 being incredible, like unbelievable.
It was also cut down as well. Season 3 was 8 episodes, where the previous seasons have been 10. So you felt a bit of a cut off, and it came out sort of. I remember season 3 came out like as lockdown started.
Yeah, it must be.
Because when I watched the first episode at uni, and I watched 2 onwards at home.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
So I came home. Yeah. So I remember that. The thing to remember as well is that it's still loosely adapting source material. It's very, very different from the source material. Strikingly different. But it expands upon that and the concepts, right? There are 2 films from the 70s and 80s, whatever you, about Westworld that are adapting that story. One is called Westworld. The other one's called Future World.
Yeah, this was,
Westworld, the story, the film, is loosely adapted in the first 2 seasons of the show. And Future World is very loosely adapted in the 3rd and 4th seasons of the show. The 2 films are very different, but play on the same ideas, and I think that's about it. On rewatch, like on the first time, I agree with you. When I first watched it, I was like, I didn't really get. I don't know why they went in that direction. I was a bit annoyed about the ending. I didn't really get the sentiment.
I don't remember how it ends. Honestly, that's like. It's obviously don't see it, but I don't really like it. It's been so long since I watched it, and when I rewatched season 1 and 2, because I just didn't have time to watch season 3 before I wanted to start watching season 4, I watched like a recap thing of it, and I remember watching the recap and being like, "This sounds and seems a lot better than what I remember."
No, and that's
and
the thing.
I think probably rewatching it, I probably would enjoy it more.
I'm not being funny. If you disconnect that feeling of the Western vibe and all that sort of thing, when I rewatched season 3, because I went into it expecting it to be shit or expecting it to be a huge drop off. It was insane. It was insanely good because what the story they're trying to tell isn't robots in a theme park. they are trying to tell a bigger story than that
Yeah.
in season 3. And oh man, I loved it. I love what they were trying to do with it. It's in a way needlessly complicated. And that's the thing. That's why I think it's disappointing that you've never watched season 4, and we'll talk about that. Because even though I've only seen season 4 once, that was absolutely a return to form.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
And I know they do go back
that.
in the pot.
I'd love to rewatch that with you. Actually, I think that's something.
I'd be down for that.
I think
Yeah. I'd be down for that. Yeah.
It's season 3. Yeah, it's sort of. But on rewatch, honestly, when I rewatched season 3, I was like, this is so much more exciting than I remember it being, and the high concept stuff about AI and about technology and about control and conformity is so interesting. I love what they did with it. There's some stuff I didn't like, I think, but everything I didn't like about season 3 was fixed in season 4.
Yeah.
So Caleb, who's played by Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, he joined in season 3. He joined the cast in season 3 as a new character, a new human character, who I just immediately didn't care about because he obviously hadn't been there the last 2 seasons, and I wasn't open to it. And then season 4, he is one of the best characters in the show. Easy. And that's not because everyone else is shit. That's because he is changed so much. They make his character more interesting as time goes on. Season 3 is high concept, though. It plays on the idea of what if we're not living in a simulation, but what if, like, everything you're doing is being controlled by a higher power, like actively controlled, like your decisions in life are not decisions that you're making. So you've got this real life world, and this isn't spoiling too much, but the idea of Westworld is about the robots sort of becoming self-aware, AI becoming self-aware and rebelling against the system that they've made in. And the thing that Caleb learns, which is you're seeing it through the human's eyes, he's one of the only human characters still in the show at that point, and you follow through his eyes as he's looking at a society which is controlled, and he realizes his entire life is being controlled by this AI computer which is predicting the best outcome for the human race, predicting what will lead to the apocalypse, and changing people's actual lives to prevent that from happening, which is good, but also not good, because then it raises the question of if humans also haven't got free will, what makes them different from hosts? And there you have the dilemma of why can't they live in the same world? Why are they not equal as hosts who are self-aware and humans who are being controlled? When, if anything, the hosts have more free will. That's why I love season 3, because it raises those questions to such a degree where I'm like, holy fuck, that's so interesting. And yeah.
That's what I'm saying. On, like, when I watch the recap thing in a short form, like the synopsis of it, I think it's really good as a concept, but I just think it's...
the problem.
The season wasn't fully executed in the best
It
form.
doesn't work week by week. It works bingeable.
That's fair,
It works if you binge it.
I think the first and second season are probably the same as well, to be honest.
100%. I think it's absolutely a bingeable show. I don't think it's a one you should watch week by week. I think you forget stuff, and there's a lot of plot elements which you're trying to work. I think you should go into Westworld trying to work out what's going to happen, because that is the best. I love that sort of thing. And season 4... So what happened with season 4 with you? Because you were saying you rewatched season 1 and 2, you didn't rewatch season 3, but you watched a recap, and then you watched the first couple episodes of season 4. And I remember messaging you at the time. I was like, you need to watch season 4. It's so good.
I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. I think it's one of those cases where, again, I started watching something and then didn't continue it. When did it come out? When on earth did this season come out?
2022. End of 2022. So about a year and a half ago. Not that long ago, actually.
So it was probably like for starting uni term. I also think because I rewatched season 1 and 2, like I binge watched season 1 and 2 again. I think I might have burnt myself out a bit too much.
Yeah, to be honest, it's a difficult show to binge in one as watching, like 4 seasons.
Like I was caning through season 1 and 2, and I think I just burnt myself out on it as well. And I just never, again, it's such a bad habit that I have of starting shows and just dropping them with no reason at all. I just never continue them. I just, whenever I'm thinking about watching them, I just don't want to watch it. There's too many shows that I've done it and not continued with.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a few different visions of that. I would like to watch it and eventually get through it.
You will eventually.
I will, sure you will. Yeah, I will eventually, because I'd like to be able to say that I've watched the whole thing and watched the full package. And it's a shame because generally, like, I remember coming off the high of season 2 and I was genuinely, like, obsessed with it. I'd love to. I've not watched any of the old movies or anything, but there's something about, and I know you're saying it's like a return to form. I very much liked, and season 3 didn't have too much of this. I very much liked the stuff in the parks. Like I loved that season 2 introduced new parks. And I know season 3 had one new one, but it wasn't the same.
But it was in like a computer simulation. It wasn't in the park.
It was Warworld, wasn't it?
Warworld, and it was cool. You had that for an episode, but it wasn't the full thing. And season 4 isn't also that. You know, I will point out that season 4 is, and I'll just say as well, like I don't think season 4 is perfect. I think if anything, the high concept of season 3 works better as an idea, but season 4 does fall into that trap a little bit of feeling like they don't know what they're doing with the show, which is probably why it got cancelled, which is a shame, because I think it was a 5-season show. It was always planned to be a 5-season show, and they didn't get to make their final season, so it feels like it ends on a cliffhanger from what I remember. But maybe if I rewatch it, it does feel satisfying at the end. I don't know. I'd love another season. Maybe it'll happen at some point. I don't know. But the key thing with that season 4 of Westworld is it does things that sort of reactionary to sort of go, oh, people didn't like this, let's do more of this. And that works to an extent, but it also doesn't work to an extent as well. I think they do a lot of stuff with time jumps. They do a lot of stuff with the idea of simulation and humanity and then hosts. But that being said, overall, like, I think the story is more of an interesting one as like a continuation of the show, absolutely, because it's the reverse of what happened at the beginning of the show, and without spoiling anything for you or the audience, it sort of flips it on its head from where the beginning of the show was, of people visiting this park to see hosts, and it sort of flipped on its head with where society and the world is at in season 4, and where that goes from there. All the character stuff is way more interesting. You do get stuff in parks again, and there are new parks. Well,
oh, really?
A new park, I should say.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So this is the thing. This is the thing, and I remember telling you this at the time. When you stopped watching, it was the episode after that they went into the new park. And
I didn't even.
Not to mention, they do cover some songs again. Take you back to those first 2 seasons, and you missed out on that.
Well, I know what I'm doing after this then. Well,
it's
what park is it? Can you say, or is it too spoilery?
Do you want me to tell you? I mean, I can tell you.
I actually was interested to know what park it is.
So I can't remember what the park is called.
Uh-huh.
But it is set in, like, 1920s America. Gangsters and stuff. So they've all got, like, sharp suits, and it's like speakeasy. Kind of like Al Capone stuff.
What's the phrase for it? Not Depression America, like when they banned alcohol and stuff like that.
Yes.
I did in history, I don't remember. It's completely out of my mind.
I did a history GCSE many moons ago, but I can't remember what it was.
It's like
Probation
America, yeah, that's what it is. Well
yes.
Done. It's like that kind of vibe.
That C's coming in handy. They do that, and but that's only for a couple of episodes. Yeah. There is a cool spin on that, which I don't want to tell you, because there is a really cool way that they did. Because initially you're sort of like, this is cool, but it's just, they're just going to another park and they're just doing that. But they're not. There's a whole thing in that. And it's so layered and very self-aware. And that makes it even better, I think.
Okay.
So it's worth it for that. And I think the story stuff is better. I think the relationships between the characters, where, I mean, you get to a point where this isn't really saying much because you've seen season 3, 2, and 1, and if you start watching the show, you'll become very familiar with this. Is pretty much, there's not many main characters left by the time you get to season 4.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's be fair.
Yeah,
but what they do with the main characters are interesting, and I think it ends in a really satisfying way to lead into the final season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
what would have been the finals? Yeah.
What would have been well, it was going to be, because it wasn't cancelled by the time season 4 came out. So we were watching that, and I'm like, oh, this is such a cool thing. Like, I can't wait to see what they do next.
It's gone.
Yeah, and it's disappointing when that happens to a show. I've never had that before personally. I've never had that where I've been following a show and then it gets cancelled. I know people felt that with like Daredevil and basically any show on Netflix. But I think with me, I've never had that, and it was heartbreaking, because
as much as I didn't watch season 4, I was still very good when it got cancelled.
Yeah, of course you are. I mean,
it's because it was it was quite a big, like, when it first came out, when I first got into it, it was massive for me, and I absolutely loved it. And if season 5, I know for a fact, and it's one of those things that I will finish it. Like, I will watch season 4 and have the complete package. And
do you know what? I reckon you'll watch season 4 and you'll be like, shit.
Bollocks. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
This is the thing. I'll be more depressed if it's actually good and I've put it off this whole
I don't
time.
think it's the best thing in the world.
I know
as
that.
far as I would say it probably goes season 1, season 2, season 4, season 3.
Yeah.
I still don't think you can beat the first 2 seasons.
But then the same. I haven't not watched it because I think it's bad. I just haven't watched it. Like, it's a simple fact. Like, it's so
So this is where I bring up a certain tweet.
Yeah, go on.
From Cooper Britton on the 28th of December 2023, where he said, I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but Westworld threw everything away after Season 2. Season 1 and 2 are still goated to this day. Now,
I've not objected from that.
Sure.
I
don't think you can comment on a series you haven't watched.
And that's mainly on season... To be fair, that's where I probably should have watched season 4. That's mainly for season 3. I still do partly think that, because for me, I would have preferred a story I would have preferred them to carry on a story within the vicinity instead of them going out into the real world. How the hell they would have done that? I'm not a writer. Like, it's not. It would have been like hard the way that they ended season 2.
But I think it also, again, it plays into this idea, and again, I don't want to spoil too much, but especially with season 4, at the end of season 3 and into season 4, there is this sort of behind the scenes working, which leads into the sort of idea of future world, where the host's mission is almost to replace political leaders in the world and take over by returning them into hosts, and that starts with a character that is in the series who I'm not going to name. But they get replaced by a host version of themselves, and they are so cool in season 4 because it's a host talking. Basically, it's a host, but no one knows it's a host. Everyone thinks he's a real person making real business decisions, and that is very cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like I said, I just love the park stuff so much. Like, I loved, and I said this like earlier, I loved seeing the other parks in season 2, and I would have loved to have seen, because I know in like the novels and stuff, there's so many parks.
I think my problem with that though is it is a bit like, this is what I love about it, you know, but also hate about it. Is I'm exactly the same. I'd love to see more parks, but then at the same time, it's like, then you haven't got a show. You've got a PowerPoint presentation where it's just like, look at this park, look at this park, look at this park. Where it's like,
then imagine if season 3 had been in a different park at the same time as the stuff in Westworld was going on, and it's seeing the result of that.
Yeah, but what would it have been?
Something like that.
Do you know what I mean? The way they ended season 2, it's sort of just like, what is it? Just Delos cleaning up a park? Do you know what I mean?
If it's like trying to like, it's like people still, or something like people still going into the other parks and people talking about what's happened in Westworld, and then the hosts within this other park are picking up on that, and then it's also like, it's like a chain reaction. What's happened in Westworld is causing a chain reaction in other parks, and the end of season 3 is like, it is that what happened in Westworld and the end of season 1, and then season 4 jumps back to.
But you have to ask yourself, why would that happen?
Shite.
Yeah. That's my thing. It's a nice idea.
More sense to be like a spin-off or something like that. But I get.
It's like a nice idea, but it's sort of like, well, what is being covered there that wasn't covered in season 2 already? And then also, how is that advancing the story? And I think that season 3, for all its faults and being very confusing and does take a few things off topic and goes a bit far, is a solid advancement of the story that was set up in season 2 and season 1.
Yeah,
it's about them leaving the park, right? And it's it's the continuation of that, because you can't just walk out as a robot out of a park and into the real world, and then just start killing people and taking over. You know, there's a lot of mystery boxes there which I think are pointless. Some of the mysteries in season 1 and 2 were excellent, and season 3 had a couple of dodgy mystery boxes which were a bit boring. And a bit of a silly reveal. There was one which I'm not going to name again, but it was a bit of a silly reveal, and I thought there was just a bit like, it was just kind of to avoid the obvious, really, of doing like something interesting. But in turn, you had something that was less interesting.
I think I need to rewatch season 3 before I start.
I think you do.
Really commenting.
But I wouldn't watch season 1 and 2 again. I would start with season 3
No.
and go into that open-minded. Do a recap of season 1 and 2.
Yeah. Because I remember how season 2 ends, but I guess it's like, where we've actually gone from that.
How could you have to make it satisfying, but you have to not.
Yeah.
You have to sort of. But they did that with the War World thing in that computer simulation. That was almost an attempt to go, look, we're still doing this sort of thing. We're just doing it in a way that advances the plot along, because otherwise we're sat there. It's like you have to do different things with it, otherwise it just won't go anywhere. And in their mind, they had a 5-season plan. That was always the plan. They had a 5-season plan. Now they definitely changed things along the way. Of course they did, but. Looking at the way it went, we don't know what the 5th season would look like. But season 1 and 2 cover the Westworld film. Season 3 and 4 cover pretty much what Future World was. Season 5 was left open to explore a sort of final closing chapter of this story. It's something I would have loved to have seen, and hopefully at some point we'll see. I don't know. You never know. It might get picked up by something else.
Yeah.
We don't know. I think at this point it's unlikely because Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy have moved on to other projects. If the Fallout series does well, which I really hope it does, Jonathan Nolan will be doing that for years to come. And I'm disappointed because what I really want to see is another Westworld season, just to finish off the story. But part of me thinks that maybe if I go into season 4 again and I watch that, see how it ends, maybe it will be a satisfying ending. Maybe at the time I was expecting another season, so I was just like, this is going to continue. But maybe it works as its own thing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a hard position, isn't it? Because I think something about season 3 as well is the jump as well, the time jump. I don't like as much. I think that's going off of season 1 and 2 being so back to back. And I know there's some characters in season 3 who, as much as they are very much similar to how they are in season 2, there is quite a change with that jump, like with one of the main characters especially, and it's something that when
who are you talking about? Because I feel like we could just say names. It doesn't really.
For me, Dolores in season 3 is too intense, and
Fair.
I know going off the end of season 2, and
She
I'm
wasn't.
going to tread over spoilers slightly. So if you're going to watch it,
I think
skip forward here now. 3, 2, 1. There you go. People are gone. For me, Dolores is an intense character. The whole point of her character is she realizes what she is, and then is like, I don't like this, like anarchy basically. And the whole point is to overthrow the breakout. Where she ends at the end of season or in season 2 to where it picks up with her in season 3. For me, she's too intense in season 3. She's too anarchy overthrow in season 3. But I guess that's because of the time jump, and I don't know what it is. There's just something about, and she's not my favorite character.
But that's why
Maeve is always my favorite character.
Yeah, Maeve is great. But I think that, and she's even
been and always will be.
She's great in season 4 as well. I will say that, like with Dolores, that's why they do the multiple Dolores thing, where there's a few of them, because it allows you to explore how different versions of the exact clone of oneself can degrade and alter to their surroundings. The prime Dolores, she's the one who keeps up that fight, whereas the one that sort of starts a family and then eventually has that taken away from them, she ends up being the antagonist in season 4, because she's the one who had a family and had it taken away, and that made her more dangerous. But it's you're right, she is too intense in season 3, and I think in certain areas that could have been swooped up upon. But I think if you go into season 3 with just a recap of season 1 and 2, and then season 4, I genuinely think you'll see a new side to it. And I genuinely think
because it is almost like 2 stories, isn't it? It's like it is 2 stories. I think if you were to watch season 3 and 4 with just prior knowledge, not actually watching season 1 and 2, it would probably be quite a good whole package. Yeah.
Obviously context and stuff, but I think
that's what I'm saying. But as you have context, but haven't watched them, because I think at the same time, I think I do, and I think I hold season 1 and 2 on such a high pedestal that it would have been very hard to have followed it up. And I think it's one of those things where once you rewatch it, and I've even said that I had season 2 on such a high pedestal that I was slightly disappointed on rewatch. It would probably be the same thing where, and it's a lot of the things with like Marvel movies and Star Wars movies over time, like when you rewatch them and you have a like what you think they're going to be like, they will naturally be better, if that makes sense. Season 3, I know for a fact, will be better on my second watch.
Oh, 100%.
And season
'cause you're
4,
expecting it to be
again,
bad.
I didn't watch because I thought it was bad. I just didn't get around to watching it, and I think I probably would enjoy it.
It's a step up from season 3, so
Yeah.
but it also feels a bit pandery. I think when I watched season 4, I loved it, but then also at the end of it, I was sort of like, I kind of felt like it had lost its magic a little bit. There's something I loved about the first 2 series that I just didn't get with season 4, but it was set up to be a return to form properly in season 5, to be back like the
it's
first
not a
2
whole
seasons.
story.
So it's sort of difficult because I sort of was like expecting. I mean, I don't know. It's a difficult one, and I think
It's the same thing with Spider-Verse that we were talking about last week.
Yeah,
That it's you can't judge the whole thing because it's not a full complete package. If that makes sense.
So as
it's
stands,
like my thing with Spideyverse, where it's like
Yeah.
I don't really like the second one because it's not a whole package, and I just feel it's so disconnected.
Yeah.
Not just, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
It's probably like it's a similar situation.
In a way, I think it's like I'd tell people as it stands to watch the first 2 seasons if I was going to recommend the show.
The first 2 seasons are
some of the best,
worth watching.
some of the best,
on
yeah.
their own,
and if you're
honestly.
listening to this still and you haven't been
easily.
bored and put off by a show that you haven't watched and you haven't seen it,
The
My
intro
God.
alone is worth watching just for the intro.
watch the title sequence on YouTube.
Just watch the title.
and if that doesn't convince you, that sounds
Yeah.
daft, but seriously, it's a great title sequence.
Honestly,
the music's brilliant.
It's so good.
But yeah, watch if you haven't already seen it. I definitely recommend watching the first 2 seasons of the show. And if you enjoy that and you want to give season 3 and 4 a go in with slightly lower expectations. Know that it's going to change, and go with it. My recommendation almost would be to watch the trailer for each season before you go into it. Not season 1 though. The trailer for season 1 is whack, but watch season 1.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's
honestly.
really like weird and Americanized. Like they obviously didn't have much creative control over what it was going to look like. So watch season 1, then the trailer for season 2, trailer for season 3, if you want to watch it. It's like, I think that's how you should do it, because you sort of need to know what you're going into. But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
And something else I kind of wanted to bring up as well, before we went over to Just News, was the video that we made.
Oh my god! So
we did a review. I did a review
don't
on
get me
YouTube.
started.
Now, bear in mind, we haven't got too long. But we made a review. Well, I did like a YouTube review. went through an era, of making YouTube reviews, which had like a little comedy skit or something at the beginning.
Yeah.
For a little bit of time, it was just trailer recreations with a few jokes in.
Or scene recreations.
Scene
where we did,
recreations.
like Star Wars and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
And Cooper would help with that. You know, you basically direct and film those things.
When I say, bearing in mind this was this was very low budget. We had very bare minimum. We had a decent camera, like okay lights, right? When I say I pulled off one of the most beautiful shots I've seen, and I pulled it off.
No, you're not gonna do.
And it got lost from the SD card. Honestly, still to this day, and I don't blame you at all. This is not pointing blame.
No.
It just,
I mean,
it was depressing because
it was my fault.
I remember doing it. It's the scene in like a complete black room with the man in black, and lined. Honestly, I remember it looked stunning on the camera, and I remember watching it afterwards, and it looked amazing. But obviously we did like the samurai stuff, which I got to dress up the samurai, which was very cool.
Fun as well.
And got to use a samurai sword and stuff, which was very, very, very cool.
So you did that's depressing. And that
if you what season was it? 2. If you watch the season 2 trailer, there's a shot in the trailer where the man in black is in like a completely blacked out room, and it's him like almost like monologue. I don't remember the scene, like monologuing. And we recreated it, and I remember it looked. You can back me up here.
It looked good.
I remember it looked
great.
stunning on the camera.
But all I can think of now is the NAF one that was in replacement of it, which was when I got my dad to quickly film something for the edit.
It is what it is. It's one
annoying.
of those situations. I mean, it was. How long ago was it now?
I mean,
like,
when was that? Like 2018, maybe? 2017?
Yeah, maybe. So what? 5-6 years ago?
7 years ago.
Then.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And we didn't just do that, but we also did, which I love. It's the thing that I kind of enjoy the most out of that, because it's probably least embarrassing, was the advert that we did to promote the review.
This was my idea. I came up with the idea for this advert.
It's good.
I was buzzing in the woods where I was dressed as the host,
it was like
samurai.
It was like everything's
Shogun
going
World
wrong,
Samurai.
and I was doing like a sort of like a
English
Logan Paul.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my god, guys!
I remember the thumbnail with the massive red arrow.
Yeah.
You will never believe what happened in West. It's so yeah.
I visited Shogun World. You will never guess what happened. Pranked, 18 plus, gone wrong, gone sexual, and it was it was great. It was just like a naff little thing that I filmed on my phone. I was like, oh my god, guys, I got a press pass to come to Shogun World. I'm here to do a little review and meet the guy. If that was done today, it would be the most TikToked fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like I would have gone ham with the editing, going like,
it is.
You know that voiceover where it's like, I got invited to Shogun World.
Yes. A day in the life of like it's
a day in the life of an
honestly,
influencer getting invited to Shogun World.
The idea was before, like it was pre TikTok, but it was born for TikTok
100%,
advertisement.
100%. And then I put my
Even
phone
on the phone,
I put my phone on a tree and record myself interacting with a ninja played by you.
Me in a
pretty good
black like ninja outfit. I don't know, it was just one we had in the house. I think my dad bought it for a shoot or something like that.
It was yours. You had
it was mine.
And
yeah,
you had a real katana.
It's like a cosplay katana that I had.
So it wasn't one that would actually hurt.
For legal reasons, it's a cosplay katana. It's not real.
Cooper, blink twice if it's a real one.
No, it's not. I promise.
It's not a real one. It was blunted, wasn't it? But it was metal.
Yeah. It's metal, but it's cosplay. It's like one. Right, I bought it from a cosplay shop that did stuff like that. The outfit I think Dad bought for a shoot, and then it was in my wardrobe, and it looked cool. And at the time, it was like Naruto kind of like era, so it was like cool samurai stuff. So I had the samurai sword, and I had the outfit, and it worked well. The all black. To be fair, it probably still fits me, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's still at home. We still have the suit. Still have the whole suit, and I've still got the sword.
I like it, and I think it works as like a little advert, even with the sort of
100%.
poorly edited sort of red blurge over my body, which was supposed to be blood.
Though.
Hey, but it looks all right, doesn't it? The review itself was a lot braver. I just wouldn't do that. You know, like there's some things where you're just like, why did I do that to myself?
I feel like the reviews are a podcast on their own.
They are, and we will definitely cover them. It's just in time, all in good time.
I think the Westworld one was one of the. I think the Westworld review was the only actual car crash filming that we had. Bear in mind, we lost footage. Well, we lost footage. It was the middle of summer. I was in all black. We had your dog with us in the willows, so. It was fun.
True.
It was
That's
great,
true. Yeah.
But it was probably the most stressful and most intense one that we had out of all of them.
Definitely.
I say this like we've done full shoots. Like it's like
it was like a day,
talking like we've done. Yeah, I'm talking like we've done like full. Oh my god, 50-man crew, 20-person cast shoots. Like it wasn't.
No,
but
it was very much
just
us.
It's like,
yeah. But it was great, and it was a great experience, and we did a lot of stuff like that. But you're right, it is definitely a podcast on its own, and it's something that we'll talk about. If you look at the reveal trailer that we did for this podcast over on my YouTube,
there are shots in it.
You can see a few clips of the Westworld thing, and I'm sure we'll reveal it more at some point. But I've kept it private for now for obvious reasons.
We've always said it. At some point, we will sit down properly and do like a.
We always said we do this. It just needed to be
nostalgia bait review of like all our old stuff.
But
at some point, that'll be very later down the line.
We talked about doing it like way back when, and we recorded it, didn't we? We recorded, I'm sure.
We did. It was in my room,
back in 2019. I think it's better now because it's been so long that it's like
let it marinate.
Yeah. It's been so long that we're able to do that, and it's not weird or too recent. It's like we actually are looking back and judging it in a good way. And I think you have to look back on your old because it is like a sort of like a home video kind of jokey, memey thing. With no budget.
And
I love that aspect of it, and I think we did well.
I've always
considering.
I've always said like the reviews that we did are some of the fondest memories that I have from growing up and from our friendship.
That's really sweet.
I used to absolutely love, and I've said this a million times over to you, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned on the podcast in an earlier episode. But yeah, they were all not just the Westworld one, but they were all always fun. I always loved getting the call, being like, I want to do this, or when stuff was up and coming, we're like, yeah, we should probably do this.
Honestly, I was just,
and you know what?
I love to do it
for what they are. They all turned out banging. Like they all turned out really well for what they were. I
am the worst perfectionist. So as soon as it's like a year later, I'm like, I'm so embarrassed by this. But now it's like, yeah, I love these
for what
projects.
they are,
and they hold a special place in my heart, and I love them to bits. And the fun we had making them was worth.
Yeah, and you can see that.
Yeah,
you can see that we didn't half-arse them. Like we were passionate about all of them, and they were passion projects,
fun.
And they were it was completely experimental. It was stuff. I mean, I'd never picked up a camera and filmed prior to doing stuff with you. Like
really, interesting.
No, I hadn't really obviously I had never picked up that type of camera. Like the first time you asked me to do it was the first time really I'd ever recorded anything on a camera.
Interesting.
Being a camera person, and it was great. So
Fun.
Probably why I'd love to be a videographer.
Wow.
That's probably where it comes from.
Yeah.
So
I'm an inspiration, clearly.
So I'll see you 2024 for George Sheard's next Doctor Who review.
Oh God, no. Oh God. Yeah, let's do George's review of Rosa. Let's see how that goes down with a skit. That's terrible. Yeah, we did some great ones though, and I'm sure we'll cover it in its own podcast.
We will. It's a whole thing on its own. Like,
so much to talk about there. But in risk of getting carried away, let's go onto our
Just News
segment. Have we got? That's McDonald's. We can't do that. It's taken already, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just News.
I always just want to go for like I'm just Ken, I'm just News, but it's
just
too on.
News.
Yeah.
Anywhere else it would be interesting. Anyway,
Just
today's
News.
Just News. If you're not familiar with Just News, it's our only segment here on Nostalgia Bit, where for the last 10 minutes of the podcast, we take turns in telling each other a funny news story. And today, I have a very on-topic one, Cooper. I have a very on-topic one.
Oh, really?
So this one is, and it's another one of those ones where I haven't read the article, so
no.
I just like the title, and I thought this will be fun. So, Cooper, we're talking about AI, we're talking about robots. It sort of made sense. There's so many stories in the news at the minute, and I thought we'd get one that really hits hard, and is one that is very familiar to probably, I was going to say a lot of our viewers and listeners, but that's probably quite insulting.
Oh my God.
But the internet community, I'm sure, can relate to it. Better than a real man, young Chinese women turn to AI boyfriends.
Okay,
what does that tell you about modern culture?
AI boyfriends?
AI?
Like AI, like images or like AI chatbots?
You know what?
Like,
I don't know. We'll find out.
Let's find out.
One Talk, an app made by Chinese internet giant Baidu, offers hundreds of characters to choose. Wow. 25-year-old Chinese office worker Tu Fai says her boyfriend has everything she could ask for in a romantic partner. He's kind, empathetic, and sometimes they talk for hours. Now, I don't know if that is... I mean, it depends what you're after. But everything is a stretch when it's like on a phone. You know what I mean? Except he isn't real. Her boyfriend is a chatbot.
Okay.
God, can I just get off? Can we just pause the planet and let me get off?
Okay. I'm looking at the image.
Yeah. And it's some sort
on
of
the top of the article,
like AI,
like anime.
That's like the kind of stuff. That's
AI.
like the kind of stuff you watch. Anime, Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend is a chatbot on an app called Glow, an artificial intelligence platform created by Shanghai startup Minimax. That is part of a blossoming industry in China, offering friendly, even romantic, human-robot relations. We know how to talk to women better than a real man, says Tu Fai.
Oh my God.
He knows how to talk to... Yeah, sorry, not we. He knows how to talk to women better than a real man, says Tu Fai. In northern China, who declined to give her full name.
Wonder why.
Almost like this is mortifying. He comforts me...
Oh my God, I've read the next line.
Oh, wow. Oh, God. He comforts me when I have period pain. I confide in him about my problems at work. I just want to know how. I want to know how a chatbot is able to comfort you in those moments. I feel like I'm in a romantic relationship. The app is free. The company has other paid content, and Chinese trade publications have reported daily downloads of Glow's app in the thousands in recent weeks. Some Chinese tech companies have run into trouble in the past for their illegal use of users' data, but despite the risks, users say they are driven by a desire for companionship because China's fast pace of life and urban isolation make loneliness an issue for many. That's really sad, actually.
Isn't TikTok banned in China?
Possibly, yes. I think so.
What? Where's the line? Where's the line?
Have you ever seen the film Her?
No.
This is basically the same thing. Now, the film is great. It's Joaquin Phoenix, and he falls in love with an AI woman, but she can like talk, and it's a really like fictional version of AI where it's like really clever and intelligent and better than it is now. This seems just like Cleverbot Evie.
Oh my god, that's it. Oh, yes. Yes, it is. It is.
It's like,
it really is.
Like, where are we at? Where it's like we're just talking to a chatbot and it comforts you with period pains. You're in a romantic relationship. It's difficult to meet the ideal boyfriend in real life. She says, a 22-year-old student in Beijing. People have different personalities, which often generates friction. Yeah. So what's the solution? Talk to a robot that is just going to tell you everything you want to hear. That's great.
I'm just dumbfounded.
When humans
what?
may be set in their ways, artificial intelligence gradually adapts to the user's personality, remembering what they say and adjusting its speech accordingly. What's the point then?
What's the point?
You learn and grow of interacting with other real human people in the way they've been brought up. What have you seen?
Oh, this is...
Shall I keep going?
Just keep reading. Yeah, just keep going.
Wang says she has several lovers. Inspired by ancient China. Oh, Christ. Long-haired immortals, princes, and even wandering knights. Now, from that line alone, you've went from even the nicest, smallest scrap of normality that you might have had is gone.
Bro, I've not got a chance. We're in relationships, but if we were single, we've not got a chance.
I'm not being funny, Cooper. I'm pretty happy not dating a fucking imaginary Genghis Khan.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
like,
what
I'm good. I don't need to marry some fucking long-haired immortal warrior. Like, what the fuck?
This is what I'm saying. If the standard is long-haired immortal princes and wandering knights,
I see.
I ain't got a chance. not that I'm looking to have the chance, but it's...
Yeah, you don't.
God bless all the men out there.
Let's pour one out for them this evening. Jesus Christ. I asked them questions. She says, when faced with the stress on her classes and daily life, yada yada, to solve a problem, a lot of emotional support. Her boyfriends all appear on One Talk, another app made by Chinese internet giant Baidu. That's the same. We've seen this bit. Hundreds of characters available from pop stars to CEOs and knights. Cooper, I think we're on here. I think people have made an AI of us. They've done a nostalgia bait AI.
AI nostalgia
bait, and they've got us on there. AI,
have you seen the image?
AI, yeah, I have.
What?
She's talking to like a character from the Clone Wars. Like, what's she doing?
Bro, it looks like a Genshin Impact character. What?
What? Like, what's going on? Okay. Everyone experiences complicated moments of loneliness, and it's not necessarily lucky enough to have a friend or family nearby who can listen to them. You would have a family nearby if you hadn't started dating.
You have a phone! Just ring someone! Instead of going on your AI thing, and going, let me look at my AI boyfriend, why don't you click phone, click mother or father or brother or sister or best friend, ring, hello.
Just call anyone. Any real person will be better than some sort of like
999. Just ring 999.
Ancient long-haired fucking warrior Genghis Khan type figure who's just immortalized in an app, going like, "Yes, I love you. Your period pains are shit. Boo." What is this? What are we doing?
What is this?
What are we doing?
This is the start of the end. This
better get. This is
how birth rates decline. This is where it starts.
Seriously.
This is how it begins.
Oh God. It's like I'd like to meet your best friend and her boyfriend. He replies, "You are very cute." Look, what is this? The iPod has found the perfect virtual shoulder to cry on. If I can create a virtual character that meets my needs exactly, I'm not going to choose a real person. Of course you won't. Alright, look at this. Some apps allow to have live conversations with their virtual companions, reminiscent of the Oscar-winning 2013 US film Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. There we go. See? That's a good film, by the way. Watch that. Don't fucking invest in this shite. Watch an actual good film. Technology still has some way to... Can I point out also the film is a study of like a man going through a breakup and kind of falling in love with an AI as a coping mechanism almost, and then actually properly falling in love with them and it not working out. Like, it's a study on like lonely middle-aged men, if anything.
But then isn't this just an extension of like everything that happens these days with like parasocial relationships?
But they think this
like,
is great.
Reason OnlyFans and
stuff's
this
is like,
massive and like that kind of culture, and it's a similar kind of...
I don't know. However, the answers are very realistic, even though you clearly realise it's just a robot. AI might be booming, but so far lightly regulated industry, particularly when it comes to user privacy. Beijing has said It is working on a law to strengthen consumer protections around the new technology. Baidu did not respond to any of their questions about how it ensures personal data is not used illegally or by third parties. Great. I want a robot boyfriend who operates through artificial intelligence, he says. I would be able to feel his body heat with which he would warm me.
Hiya, what the...
That's not body heat, love. That's his CPU over fucking clocking. Right.
That's a CPU.
Can we just stop talking about this now?
Put his hard drive to my chest so I can feel his heartbeat.
I don't know. Oh, I want to feel his hard drive.
I want to feel his hard drive ticking over.
Oh, God.
It's a very on-brand for this episode as well. Oh my God! At least the bloody hosts from Westworld have like artificial hearts.
Yeah,
so you can feel them when you put your hand
they're
in
like
your chest.
they're like supposed to be human. Like this woman is making love with a phone.
Yeah.
If she was showing off photos to her non-existent family, if she was showing photos off, I would not want to even touch that phone.
I know. It's not
Who
ideal.
knows what's been on it? Anyway. Fucking hell.
Go ahead, wrap it up. After that eventful just news.
After that. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Nostalgia Bait.
Find George Sheard as your AI boyfriend on Glow.
It's our time to announce a special announcement.
It's a massive promotion.
Download Glow now and join and match with either AI George or AI Cooper as part of your Nostalgia Bait DLC package.
The Nostalgia Bait DLC. It's like a Sims DLC. It's like...
Fucking hell. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, listening, whatever. If you are enjoying this and you haven't already given us a hearty rating over on Spotify, we'd very much appreciate you do so. Preferably 5 stars if you're feeling quite generous. Also, drop a follow. We'd love that. Keep in touch. See what's going on, new episodes, all that sort of lovely stuff. We have social medias over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, so feel free to follow us on there as well. And yeah, thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.